Hello kiddos, want to do a quick diary today. So a few days ago your grandpa's car started giving him issues. Now this is a 2023 Citroen, what is it? A Citroen C5 Aircross, I believe. Looks like a base spec, not very many options in it, even though it has far too many options anyway. So why am I making this video? Because you need to learn something about the future, or at least about the present, but possibly the future, which is all modern cars. There will be cars made after the year 2006, 2008, something like that, are absolute junk and you should never buy them for any reason. So let me explain what happened so you have a vague idea. So he has this car, it's new, it's in warranty and everything, but right now he's visiting us. So he's in a different country, right? So things get a little bit more complicated. Now, all of a sudden, the car started giving him a warning. Now, the check engine light, which is a light that all cars have, even old ones, came on. And this light essentially warns that the computers on the vehicle have detected that something's wrong. And when something's wrong, it means one of the organs of the car, so to speak, doesn't work properly. So it's a problem and needs to be addressed. Now, what modern cars do is they put themselves into limp mode, which is arguably a positive thing. Now, this is a rubbish turbo diesel, whatever it is, 1.5, tiny displacement, tiny horsepower, modern diesel, needs 80 blue, needs all of these ridiculous things to run. Anyway, but so it puts itself into limp mode. So he had very, very little horsepower. The car was drivable, but not very quickly at all. Okay, so I was able to call a friend to come with his diagnostic tools and take a look. And what he's found out is that the oil in the vehicle was deteriorated severely, and it had a substantial amount of diesel in it, which is normal. There's always going to be a mixture. What's not normal is that there is too much diesel in it. It means the quality of the oil is too low. The oil has deteriorated. Okay, so then I talked to your grandpa and I asked him, sorry, when was the last time you did an oil change on this thing? And he said, well, it has 35,000 kilometers on the clock. And I changed the oil on the sticker here. It says 15,000 kilometers. And my eyes were like, say what? So you've done 20,000 kilometers. You've done half of the equator without changing the oil. I said, are you sane? And we talked for a bit. And then he told me, well, but it says on the manual of the car that you're supposed to change the oil and to service it only after 30,000 kilometers. And I did it early. And I had to insist with a dealer. And so this absolutely warrants me talking about this. So all of these 100% are lies. Not by your grandfather, but by the dealer who is in turn informed by the manufacturer, who is in turn forced by government to make cars in certain ways. So everybody's lying here. Especially everybody in power. That's just the default status quo. Nothing meaningfully speaking has changed in the chemistry so far as I know in terms of how engine oil is made. Viscosity information and everything like that, and how quickly it decays, okay, is roughly the same as what it has been for decades, okay? And you need to change the oil in your vehicle, I mean, reasonably frequently, every 5 to 10,000 kilometers or every year. That's what mechanics usually say, right? And that makes a heck of a lot of sense, because the problem is, as the oil is moving about and doing its lubrication business, it loses its lubricating properties over time. It's a consumable, like many other things. So it needs to be cleaned up and it needs to be replaced with a fresh one, and then the engine's happy again. And yeah, so if you buy a new car, because you're stupid enough to do it, you must automatically disregard all of these lies. You have to change the oil frequently. Problem is, they don't want to do it, and the warranty services come within the package of the car in and of itself. And I'm sure they want to track that it's all been done in-house and everything like that. It's a whole scam, this. It's a whole scam that has two purposes. A, keep trickle feeding money to the manufacturers, the dealers, and the whole system. So making you enslaved to them. And B, forcing you never to own your own vehicle, so you can't repair it and do things yourself, etc. In fact, I am positive that this is true, and I'm going to explain why. Now that we've diagnosed the problem, we know what to do. We need to change the oil. So I go to the local shop, I buy oil, I buy a filter. You always need to replace the filter with the oil. Some people do only the oil and not the filter. Makes no sense. The filter is full of the old grimy, disgusting oil, which will poison the new one. It's nonsensical. Throw away the old filter, put the new one on. Same concept, it's a consumable. Now, as I buy the filter, I go, this is an odd filter. I've never seen a filter like this. And that's because it's the filter on the inside of the filter housing. Most old cars have old filters that have the housing already as part of that. Okay, so I said, this is going to be fun to replace. So we go back to the car, and my mechanic friend is there. He did the replacement for us, very kindly. And he got the whole floor incredibly messy because there's no other option. You need to remove the housing, okay? The filter is inside a local housing to the car, so you need to remove the housing, then remove the filter. All of the oil that's in the filter and around it is going to spill all over. There's just no solutions to this. That's just how it is. That is incredibly stupid design. Right? That is been designed specifically so that you can't do it at home or you really desperately don't want to. But here's the cracker. There's worse. It's even worse. Most oil pans, which is where the oil is deposited at the bottom of the engine, usually have a little knot that you can undo. You undo the knot and the oil comes out. It just starts gushing out in a relatively reasonably tidy single stream. Okay, and gravity does the rest. You just put the pan underneath, your own pan, your pot, whatever you have to collect the oil, and then the oil just falls in. And then you need to be kind of careful because it's going to go from a stream to a little trickle, so you need to move it in strategic places. But it essentially does itself. Now, this car doesn't have that. So what the mechanic had to do is he had a pump and he had to siphon out the oil from the top. Huh? There is no way an engineer came up with this solution. The engineer was forced to come up with a worse solution that will help the manufacturer and not you. This has to stop. And the only way it's going to stop is by rejecting manufacturers and rejecting governments. Okay? You cannot buy any of these modern pieces of junk. Okay? These are against you. They are designed to work against you. They are designed to make it so that you cannot fix them yourself, that you cannot own them yourself, that you're constantly dependent, in this case, on Citroën. Shame on them, shame on governments for all their ridiculous laws, okay? Do not buy, assuming you can, because governments will eventually ban old cars. I'm 100% of this, okay? Anyway, whatever the case may be, as long as you can, do not buy anything newer than 2007, 2008. A 2006 car is going to have an oil pan. It's not going to have stupid heated seats. It's not going to have a completely unnecessary heated steering wheel. It's not going to have 57 controls on the steering wheel. It's not going to have touch screens in the car managing stuff. Here's another quick example, and then I promise I'm done because this is getting on. Yeah. So your grandpa is an old man, right? He is not. I have no idea why he bought this car because he's a potato, right? So he's decided, and that, by the way, is my father-in-law. My father is mental. He's in a mental institution. My father-in-law is still theoretically normal, but he makes a lot of bad decisions. This is one of them. So anyway, this car has loads of electronics in it, and electronic controls, and touchly fiddly things on the touch screen and everything. It's absolutely ridiculous. Older gentlemen and gentle ladies are not prepared for the level of technological rubbish that is present in these cars. And just so we're clear, it's rubbish. I am a technological person. I use computers all the time. I use many devices that most people do not use because I'm a programmer and a developer, etc., etc., etc. Okay? Okay, so, but it puzzles me, these modern things, and they're terrible. Like the touchscreen has delay, it has a loading screen, You turn on the car, it's got a loading screen. I turn on my old car, turn the key, that's it, it's done, it's on. There's no loading screens. That's unbelievable, this is woeful. Okay, so anyway, turn the car on, you gotta wait for the loading screen, it's got a whole procedure to turn it on, even though it's a rubbish car. It's not an event, like, you know, open a little hatch on your Lamborghini Sesto Elemento or whatever and pressing the button, or your Huracan. It's not that, okay? It's just rubbish. It's rubbish. It's a UX nightmare, okay? UX stands for user experience. So, anyhow, it's got the touchy screenies and everything like that, so you're lovely and distracted while you tap on your screen over there, not looking at where you're driving. I can't believe that's legal, while me answering the phone and holding it to my head is illegal. Stupid idiot government. Anyway, so all of this is in the car, right? Now, your grandfather pressed buttons accidentally and changed his instrument panel that's in front of him, because that's digital too. My instrument panel has little gauges that go up and down, and they're analog and they're beautiful. They're A, aesthetically very pleasing, B, they're fantastically functional, right? So, and they never break. So, anyway, he's got this stuff, and it's displaying stuff he doesn't want now. And he's desperately trying to figure out how to change it. He's pressing buttons, he's reading the manual, etc. Now, because the instrument cluster is separated into 3 sections, the front section he wanted it to be a speedometer, the left section he wanted to be range, and the right section he wanted to be something else. It doesn't matter. So we go to the touchscreen and we try to control this. And there's some options that do change that display, but not fully, right? And he goes, I cannot restore the situation. So I sit down and I start pressing buttons. And I notice that the stalks have these buttons on the stalks, on the edges of the stalk. So I press the left one, and it does change something, but it's not what we want. And then I press he wants to change the left cluster, just so we're clear. So I press the right one, and I start cycling options through the left cluster. And I eventually find what he wanted. This took him an hour he'll never get back. And half an hour of my time, or 15 minutes, whatever it was, which I also will never get back. Okay? So the right stalk controls the left screen. I mean, do you guys not have a UX research department or something like that? This is mental. Citroen, your car is a turd, and it doesn't deserve to exist, and it's polluting the planet, just like you are with your absolutely awful vehicles. Gone are the days in which you used to make a DS. Gone are the days in which you moved people around in your 2CV, going through the fields with incredibly innovative and interesting chassis design, innovative and interesting suspension design, innovative and interesting headlight design. You guys suck. You were amazing before, and you suck with a capital S, and nobody should buy your products. And chief among these nobodies will be my children. Children, do not buy a Citroen. You can buy a Diane from the 70s. Do not buy a Citroen for any reason. And I don't mean a Citroen, because Citroen is part of Stellantis, which owns Dodge, Jeep, Fiat, and now I think there's talks about Peugeot, and now there's talks, I think, about them conglomerating together with the Renault Group, which I think owns Nissan. So nothing's sacred anymore. You can't buy anything, just don't buy anything. Go to the equivalent of your Craigslist or OLX, whatever, Facebook Marketplace. Go there, find a used car, try to find a good one that somebody cared for. Purchase that and then care for it and love it, because that machine is the extension of your legs. That machine is an incarnation of your liberty and of your freedom of movement. So there. That's what I wanted to share with you. Goodbye.